Like you saw in the beginning of the episode, this video does involve guns, or at least one gun. If you don't like guns, don't watch it. Simple as that. Guys and gals of the internet, today we're back for another episode of DIY Amateur Hour. We're going to change things up from what we usually do. Today we're going to be working on my Glock 43. It's a subcompact 9mm single stack firearm, but we're going to be installing our Clipdraw holster today. It's very similar to like the clip on a knife or anything else smaller that you would put in your pocket. Makes it a little bit easier to conceal your pistol instead of a big bulky holster. I didn't see the point in having a big bulky holster for such a small firearm. So I'll show you how to install it today. Here we go. So when you first open your box from Clipdraw, you're going to have a number of things, including a pamphlet or a brochure, as well as your shipping label. You're also going to get a nice little sticker that you can put on your gun safe or anywhere else you want to support Clipdraw. I opted for the trigger sheath. Essentially all it is a cover for your trigger while it's concealed on your person, and when you draw the firearm, this rope here retains the sheath so that it does not come out with the firearm and keeps the trigger available for you to use. And finally, we have the Clipdraw holster itself. It's a clip that you replace the back slide cover on your firearm, and you bolt the clip to it, and therefore your holster is always available and built into your gun. It's a very simple process to both install and uninstall the Clipdraw holster. It's completely reversible. So without any further ado, let's get started on the install. To install your Clipdraw holster on your Glock, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure it's unloaded. As you can see, there's nothing in the chamber. So slide forward, and on a Glock, you pull the trigger. And next step to remove the slide, after you pull the trigger, pull back on the slide just slightly until you hear that click. And it's got these two pins on either side. You pull down on the pins and your slide comes forward. Once you have the frame removed from the slide, the next step is to remove the barrel and recoil spring. Recoil spring comes out fairly simply. Compress it slightly and pull it out. Put it aside. And then the barrel quite simply lifts out. Now that we have the recoil spring and barrel removed, we're going to come back here to the back of the slide, and this is where all the work takes place. At this point, we open up our bag from Clipdraw. We're going to be removing the slide cover that they provide. So this is the new back cover from Clipdraw. You can see it's very similar to the Glock one, except it's got two holes, obviously. That's where your new holster bolts on. Next step to install the Clipdraw is you can see the little plastic spacer right in here. You've got to use a screwdriver to move that spacer forward, and that will relieve some tension off of this back plate here so that we can slide it off. When you do that, be careful. Your firing components are under a lot of tension, Now you do need a fairly small screwdriver for this. A dental pick would probably work, but as you can see, you have to get it right in that small space. So all you do, push in, heard that little click, and now we slide off the back slide cover. This is what the back of your slide will look like. When we go to push in the new slide cover, we will need to push in these components here. So we have the slide cover lined up, keeping a little bit of pressure on the slide cover, pushing down the way I'm holding it towards the top of the slide, and we push in. That was the first click. And second click. So now you can see the slide cover's on. We're ready for reassembly. At this point, with the back slide cover on, if you've gotten this far, you should be able to put everything back together yourself. But barrel goes back in, recoil spring goes back in, and then the slide goes back on the frame. So we'll do a function test real quick. Everything seems to be working normally. So now at this point, we're going to install the Clipdraw holster itself. You have your clip, 2 Allen head screws, and 2 lock washers. Make sure you use the lock washers. You don't want your holster coming off when you really need it. So the way that Clipdraw has designed their holsters is you can mount it either on the left side or the right side of the firearm. I'm right-handed, and the way I'm going to carry it, I'm going to be putting it on the right side. So what I like to do is start to screw through the clip itself first, and then you can push the screw into the mounting hole and get it started. And then we just gotta do the same thing with the other one. And then we just do the same thing with the second one. Now, Clipdraw does not provide a torque spec for these Allen head screws. Obviously, you don't want them too tight because you don't want to strip the screws or the holes in the back of the slide cover, but you also don't want them too loose because you don't want the holster, the Clipdraw, coming off after the first few rounds. I know some people are a little worried about that. They feel like the vibrations are going to loosen up these screws or cause some other issues. I'm not terribly worried about it. I would highly recommend that you also go with the optional trigger sheath. Just keeps your trigger protected and covered while it's concealed, preventing it from being pulled or pushed unintentionally. So quite simply, when you open it from Clipdraw, you're going to take the string, push it through the holes, and tie a knot in it. Once you have the string pulled through and you have a knot in the end, you're ready to go. You're going to wrap the string around your belt loop and then feed the sheath through the string, so that way it gets caught on your belt loop and then the sheath won't go anywhere. And before you conceal the Glock, you just push the trigger cover right there. You're safe, you're protected for anybody who carries hot. And now when you go to draw the firearm, because it's connected to your belt, the trigger guard pulls right off. You're ready to go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you install a Clipdraw holster on your Glock 43. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them down below. If you liked what you saw, be sure to leave a like on this video. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, be sure to subscribe. Remember, you can always DIY.